Test 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Welcome, Rotarians and guests of the club, to the August 10th meeting of the Las Vegas Rotary Club, the greatest club in the world. I am Toni Curran, and I'm honored to serve as your 101st president of this club. Before we start, I want to extend my apologies for anyone who I surprised last week by starting a little extra early. I was looking at my watch, which is set a little bit ahead, so I'm not late, as opposed to my trusty Apple. So I'm watching my Apple, and I apologize to anyone who's shocked. That being said, I would like to ask that Liz Rothwell and Tanya Waggle please come up to the front for the song and our invocation. So bow your heads, please. Oh, great spirit, wherever kids grow up believing the gangs give them identity, family, belonging, protection, power, and find themselves drawn into an often dangerous world that robs them of a childhood and leaves scars into the touch of the earth. Bless those called to work with gang members, sharing their unconditional love with both forward and lives. Protect and empower them as they invite their prodigal sons and daughters to return to them. All right, today we're going to do the Star Spangled Banner. Ready? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly seen, on the rocket's return, the bursting it moved through the night, but a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the love of the free and the hope of the brave. That was mind-blowing, and for those of us that are altos, I'm sorry. Would you please join Liz, Tanya, and I in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We are at that point. Thank you. We are at that point where I would like to extend my thank yous on behalf of the entire club for those that have made this possible. Once again, our famous setup folks, it's Bob Werner and Dr. Kathy Mahan, our greeters, Andrew Thurlow and Liz Rothwell, our guest welcome guide, Larry Cohn, our ticket sales. It was Nancy Anderson, Karen Wisenhunt, Photographer, past president Jim Tucker, scribe John Pally, our AV team, Austin Wyrick and David Jones, our teardown is possibly by Michael Williams and Susan Ziobro, and our sergeant at arms today will be Larry Cohn. So thank you all. Okay, Larry, do you have a microphone to start doing your thing? No. Larry, aren't you sergeant at arms today? Aren't you sergeant at arms today? Going to the highest bidder, because that was what was on the list. I like when we can bob and weave. So let's start out. We have no international visitors, or we do? Okay, wonderful. Visiting Rotarians, Rotarians from other clubs, please raise your hands so that Larry can come to you for introduction.
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Bertuzzi with the Las Vegas After Hours Rotary Club. And as always, I just want to thank this particular club for being one of our sponsors when we chartered May 1st of 2019. Thank you.
Any other visiting Rotarians? Okay, let's move on. Guests of Rotarians, please raise your hand so Larry can come to you.
Hi, I would like to introduce my good friend Tyson here. This is his first Rotary Club meeting ever. So be on your best behavior. Welcome, Tyson.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys. Looking forward to connecting with each and every single one of you.
Other guests of Rotarians.
I have got Dale here with me today. He is a past Rotarian from another club, and he's looking to move to Vegas, and he's looking to join this club.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Ryan. Welcome back.
Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Sean Sennett at our table. He's with Orbis Cyber Security. So put your phones down because he's probably in them right now.
Hello, thank you. This is my third luncheon. I did my interview yesterday. I was supposed to have Russ Swain on my application today, but he's not here. So again, I'm Sean Sennett with Orbis Solutions. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Other guests of Rotarians coming back. Oh.
Madam President, I'm very delighted to introduce a friend of mine who is a professor in cardiology as well as pulmonology from the University of California, San Francisco at the top. He was here one time. He has a great Rotary story to tell you, but it will take a long time. But he will briefly say a few words about himself.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vishwas. Good afternoon, everybody. As Dr. Vishwas said, I used to be a Rotarian about 45 years ago in India. When I came here, I was attending the Rotary Club meetings in Brooklyn, New York. But I won't tell you the whole story. He knows the story. But right now, I'm migrating between California and Las Vegas. I'm moving here now. I've been here for 4 years. And it's great to be here. This is my second meeting, and I love all the people.
Nice to have you with us. Thank you. We'll go this way, and then Susan, we're back to you.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. David Thorson here. I'd like to introduce Tim Mullen. He's the Executive Director of USO Intermountain, now covering Nevada, Utah, Idaho, and Montana, and a former member of our club. So welcome, Tim.
Welcome, Tim.
Thank you, Rotarians. I have a guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Mara Cordier. My husband and I own the Purple Chandelier, formerly with World Consignment, and we are a luxury furniture before. So anyway, it's nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Any other guests of Rotarians? All right, shall we move on to guests of the club?
All right, we have very special guests with us, the new majors that are stationed for Las Vegas for Salvation Army, Maggie and Harold Laba. So welcome to the club.
Welcome. And at this time, wait, any other guests of the club, Melanie? Okay, then we're covered. All right, then I would like to take this opportunity to introduce those at my head table. We have Sergeant Christopher Rivera, who is our speaker for today, and we'll hear more about him shortly. We have a past president, Randy Campanelli. And in the empty seat soon to be here will be Lieutenant Monique Bomer. So welcome to all the guests, and thank you for joining us today. Couple of items. We had our Alpine picnic at Tom Thomas's home. Thank you very much, but we have some leftovers. We think we know where this goes. This has a PBS, so I think it's probably Nikki's or could be Rita's. We have beautiful dish towels. If they belong to you, please claim them. Otherwise, I'm not sure what we're going to do with them, but they're beautiful gray and they match. We have these amazing test run chiller things that Tom even used, and they work well. They're skinny. They don't take up much space. So whoever brought those with all your items, they're all here. There's bunches of them. Again, claim them. Same thing with this lovely cooler pack. There's nothing identifying on it. No logos, no nothing. So let's get those claimed. And thank you, Tom, for bringing them. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, another announcement, and then I'll start moving into the audience. As all of you know, that there is a tremendous fire that has done significant damage on the island of Maui. The entire town of Lahaina is basically gone. And John Williams, our member, and with the Nevada Wheelchair Foundation, advised me this morning of the efforts that he's doing to help them. He is in contact with Hawaiian Airlines to find out if they can receive about 50 wheelchairs. He's also on medical boards where there will be excess COVID supplies to go over. I've already put in a call to the president, have her over there to find out what they need. So hopefully by next week, or even in the email coming up next week on Monday or Tuesday, we'll have more information about what those needs are. Perhaps we can help them, and we'll have a sign-up sheet for that. So we have the Lahaina people and our Rotarian family there in our hearts. Okay, so next, quick announcement by Bob Warner, please.
So used to get up there. Las Vegas Rotary family is the greatest family one can have. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for showing up on my daughter's funeral. The cards, well wishers, and the turnout is phenomenal. We had standing room only, and I truly appreciate everyone coming to the dinner that Anil fixed for us. And I want to thank Dr. Mahan for contributing to the Las Vegas Rotary Foundation, as well as Nancy Anderson in my daughter's name. And thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, now I think we can move again. And Kathy, thank you so much for the donation. Could you take the microphone to Austin Wyrick, please? for a little TLC and our exchange student list.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. I am a representative along with Susan Tiobro, Michael Williams for TLC. It's team leadership camp hosted by District 5300. We don't have the forms yet, but we are taking names. If you know of an 8th grader that would be interested in this amazing opportunity, please see one of us. Along with that, as you know, we have our exchange student from Chile here. Can't think of his name.
Mateo.
Thank you. And we some people have stepped up and decided to take Mateo out to do things around town. Russ is going to take him on his boat, for Lake Mead. Somebody's doing the Grand Canyon. I think it was, somebody said paintball. I don't know who it was, but I'm down for that. Oh, it was her. That sounds awesome. Anyways, there's a list of activities, that could be done for him while he's here. As Rotarians, let's all be good hosts and step up and see what we can take him to do. Night's game, tour of the strip, whatever you can think of, mob museum, that might be something productive for him to do while he's here. He's here for the next year. I am going to be putting a list in the Green Book by next week. Please put an activity and your name in it, and we'll get it all for you.
Thank you, Austin. And I know Melanie talked about soccer tickets for the lights. He's a big soccer fan. So thank you. If you would now go to past President Karen Wisenhunt, please, Larry, for putting tournament and youth protection.
So we'll start with the youth protection. What Austin was just saying about hosting Mateo. In this Rotary year, if you're doing anything with a child under 18 years old, you need youth protection training. It's an online training. It only takes you 10, 15 minutes. Sign up in the Green Book. All we need is your name and your email address, and then you'll get a link. And then you take the training and you're good for a year, but it's something that has to be reviewed every single year. Second, we're fast approaching the golf putting tournament. It's on September 25th. Again, it's in the Green Book. We're still looking for golfers, and we're looking for hole sponsors. So sign up in the Green Book. The golfers, it's a putting tournament, so you do not have to know how to golf. So friends and family and business associates, please reach out to them and invite them to the tournament.
Thank you, Karen. Larry, would you go to Stu Lipoff, please, for the Lego Discovery Museum?
Thank you, President Flody, and good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. We are still looking for some volunteers for this Sunday at the Children's Museum to host an event for their members. It's a Lego competition, and if you've ever bought a train set for your child and figured out who's actually going to play with it, I suspect that may happen also this Sunday. But we're looking for any adult members of your family and friends who want to sign up. You can sign up in the Green Book, or as always, you can just go online with your home computer or your phone using the QR code that's in here, and you can sign up. Free parking, and after the event, we'll go over to Vic's across the street for cocktails. Hope to see some of you there.
Thank you, Stu. Next, if you would take the neck to Jerry Sennis about the highway cleanup. Jerry, where are you sitting? There you are.
Okay, the highway is dirty again. It needs to be cleaned. That'll be September 16th, 8 o'clock, across from Bonnie Train. As usual, I will be serving breakfast at my house afterwards. That's all that's fun. And this quarter is going to be students from the Palo Verde Rotary Club that'll be joining us. They volunteered to help clean up the highway. So it would be great for Rotarians to show the spirit of Rotary with these young kids. And, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you for having the Palo Verde people there. For those of you that were at the Alpine picnic, it's the same group of folks. So it's Tim is your teacher, And there should be anywhere between 6 to 10 of these members of the Wilderness Club, so join us. And while past president Jim Tucker is standing up, he's got something to say about our roster.
Hello there. Anybody new to the club that wasn't in last year's roster or will be in this year's, please see me about taking a picture if I haven't done so already, or your face will not be in the roster. Okay?
Does it also include people whose pictures are back from the 1990s if they want to update? And next up, Larry Cohn for the 25 Club.
All right, our next 25 Club meeting is September 7th, 6 p.m. at Don Holland's home. More information to come. New members, if you haven't attended, this is the club for new members, and anybody else who wants to come. It's partly educational and very social, so make an effort to be there.
Thank you, Larry. I understand there's 32 members of the 25 Club. Let's see how many of them will go to Don Holland's house. Make Don the most popular guy in the club. And typical of my nagging, where is the green book? Okay, so it's gone down that way. It's going to continue on to the back, all the way around and come up the front. Doesn't matter where you're sitting, it's the same path every time. And last on the list, before we do some special presentations, once again, I am trying to promote the Books and Buddies program with Spread the Word Nevada. I've had several people sign up. We already have Stu Lipoff. He's going to go to orientation on the 17th. So those of you that don't know anything about it or have never done it, please come see me or email me and I can talk your ears off. It's an amazing opportunity to help children read, and no experience is necessary. So that being said, may I ask both Tim Mullen, who's got a mouth of something, and David Thorson to please come up for a moment? Past President Thorson, sorry. Those of you who have been here week after week now, since I started running a meeting in July, know that we give a very special award to our speakers, and we are honoring the USO this year. And on behalf of the Las Vegas Rotary Club, I would like to give a check to the USO of Southern Nevada for $2,400, which supports the USO military family support programs. And I would like Tim then to explain a little bit about what that program is. So Tim, congratulations. Thank you. Dave, thank you.
Thank you for thinking of the USO as part of your speaking series this year. These funds will go a long way to support our family care program. So we do probably 10 to 15 morale boosting and family strengthening programs once a month for local military populations, whether that's monthly spouse networking events where we bring spouses together to build relationships with other spouses in the community. A lot of these spouses that come here with no friends, no family, no support systems. So we help them build those support systems. We do monthly outings for families and currently deployed service members as well. So taking them out to do an activity, whether that's bowling, buffet dinner, going out to the water park, to bring those families together so they can kind of build some of those support systems. So those are just a couple of the programs that we do to help support our military population. So thank you again.
Thank you for what you do. Appreciate it. Thank you. Now it is indeed my pleasure to have the next presentation. Those of you may recall on July 13th, we had an opportunity to visit Nellis Air Force Base where there were airmen and airwomen honored on the Wetzel Awards. And we are most fortunate enough today to have those recipients here with us to share and to be acknowledged by you, the club members. So I'd like to call up Bob Pizer and his military team and Susan Zebro. The mic is yours.
Good thing. Colonel Emery Scott Wetzel Jr., this club is known as Scotty, spent his entire life associated with the United States Air Force. Born an Air Force brat, spent 30 years on active duty, stayed active duty with Nellis Air Force Base for the rest of his life. A longtime member of the Rotary Club, Scotty embraced the principles we Rotarians live by in the things that we think, say, and do. The second of our guiding principle in Rotary is the four-way test. In Scotty's case, the second principle stood out. Is it fair to all concerned? Colonel Wetzel didn't think so when it came to recognizing the enlisted personnel of the base, while the officer ranks were being honored mostly for their flight performance. Colonel Wetzel approached General Wood, commanding general at Nellis at that time, shortly before his demise in April 2003, and suggested to General Wood that a program be established to honor these junior enlisted personnel. Unfortunately, Scotty, as you know, died suddenly that same year. But the Rotary Club, this Rotary Club, his Rotary Club, decided to complete Scotty's mission and take up that charge in memory of Scotty's request. The Nellis and Creech awardees you see before you today embody the military principles of duty, honor, country, service, as they have excelled in their military duties and professional life, and we honor them today. I'm asked, what's included in what we present to these fine airmen? First, we provide $200 of dining certificates with Lowry's Restaurant, where you sit now. 2 complimentary tickets each to Fantasy Lab, Fashion Show Mall, courtesy of our friends at Indigo Tickets. Their name is inscribed on the Wetzel Awards plaque in the Honorary Hall of the 99th Air Base Wing at Nellis, and a letter, of course, and plaque from the from the Las Vegas Rotary Club, signed by our wonderful president, Tony Kern, acknowledging their outstanding performance. I now wish to recognize those airmen. Airman First Class Brianna Avilés hails from Raleigh, North Carolina. Unfortunately, she's not able to be with us today, but accepting the award in her place is Technical Sergeant Taraz. Brianna is assigned to the 17th Attack Squadron at Creech Air Force Base, playing a crucial role in supporting flying operations for remotely piloted aircraft missions. She helps service 5 theaters of operation worldwide, providing continuity in the form of drone pilots, sensor operators, intelligence, weather, and aviation management in support of overseas contingency operations. Congratulations.
Staff Sergeant Sierra Kraut hails from Detroit, Michigan. She's a personnel specialist currently serving as the Command and Support Staff non-commissioned officer in charge with the United States Air Force Air Demonstration Squadron, which you affectionately know as the Thunderbirds. Sierra oversees 25 different personnel programs and supports 135 personnel who travel 300 days annually. She executes airlift loading operations as a certified air transport augmentee and ensures movement of cargo with personnel to every air show location worldwide. Congratulations. Staff Sergeant Job Hernandez hails from Laurel, Maryland. Job is a heavy earthworks craftsman for the 820th Red Horse Squadron at Nellis. He's responsible for leading 18 military personnel and posturing 2,275 assets within 7 unit type codes to provide rapid deployable engineering capabilities for 11 combatant commands worldwide. Congratulations. Staff Sergeant Chayla Palacio hails from Palm Bay, Florida. She is an adverse actions paralegal assigned to the Warfare Center's Office of the Staff Judge Advocate at Nellis. Filling a mid-level government service GS-9 position in the absence of an incumbent for 2 months, Chayla processed not only 15 non-judicial punishment packages while preparing 100 documents for 2 discharge boards. She managed to process 15 administrative demotions and discharge packages, ensuring that 5 members unfit for military service were separated from the Air Force. Congratulations. Staff Sergeant Kara Washington hails from Cleveland, Ohio. She's a client systems supervisor assigned to the 99th Communication Squadron. For more than 2 months, Kara served as the non-commissioned officer in charge, a position normally held by a higher ranking senior non-commissioned officer. During that time, she led 19 airmen in resolving 270 base outages while simultaneously supporting a major red flag exercise, a contested combat training exercise involving the air forces, not only of the United States, but also its allies worldwide. Congratulations. Finally, a little late on this, but we are going to honor at a future time Tech Sergeant Lachelle Watson. We want to just honor her today. She, unfortunately, the base forgot about her, and we're going to take up the honor for her next time. But anyway, Lachelle Watson, we congratulate you for being one of the awardees as well. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like everyone to please congratulate and honor our people. And thank you all for your service. And Bob and Susan, thank you for the great job you did. we have one last thing before we have our speakers start, and that is our raffle. So, Sergeant, if you'd be kind enough to pick 2 tickets, you're responsible for someone's future here. All right, if everyone would please look at your raffle tickets for the pot, which is $3,655 plus today's split. The last 4 numbers are, let me put on my glasses to make sure. Yep, 8107. 8107. Hey, past President Campanelli. All right, I've already shuffled them. Thank you, past President Randy. For the Lowry's Bucks, last 4 numbers, 8113. Lowry's Buck. Oh, Sean. This is good. Congratulations. Wait a minute. Wait, don't go so fast. He likes pictures and I always move fast. Congratulations. Okay, so moving right along, I would like to call up past President Campanelli to introduce our speaker.
Thank you. And once again, my record holds. I've never won anything except, I guess, $10. So, Sergeant Chris Rivera, 17 years veteran of Metro. He's pretty much done it all. He financial crimes detective, as well as detective, patrolman, etc. And now he runs an enforcement team for the gang unit for Metro. So it's a great honor for me to introduce Sergeant Chris Rivera.
Bear with me for just a second as I get all my stuff together. All right. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. As you talked about, I've been with Metro for a long time. I've been around in a few different places with that expertise as a detective, which is why they brought me to the gang unit. As we all know, we do have a problem with gangs through Clark County. We are the only police department in the Valley that has a dedicated gang unit that focuses our efforts solely on gang crime. So any type of crime, from stealing to shootings, domestic violence, if there is some type of gang involvement with that, that's what our unit investigates. All right, so as it says there, it's the policy of our department to protect the Las Vegas community by reducing criminal street activity through the implementation and proven creative strategies of enforcement, investigation, and intelligence. Our goal are to arrest and successfully prosecute violent gang members involved in any criminal activity. And through that, our objectives, the section is to reduce the impact of criminal gangs activity in the community through lawful arrest, prosecution, and partnership with federal law enforcement, in partnership with community stakeholders that want to get involved. So the makeup of our section, we have a captain who runs us. We have a lieutenant who oversees our section. There's 5 sergeants that control the officers and their activities. We have 21 detectives that do the investigations and 20 officers that conduct enforcement. So as that works, we have the enforcement team. So as we talked about, I am a sergeant of that enforcement team. We are a uniformed team that goes out and marks black and whites, and we go to the neighborhoods that we know that there is violent crime occurring, past shootings, or we go into areas that we know that members of our most active gangs, where they live, where they hang out, where they like to party. So that's all of Las Vegas, all of North Las Vegas, and sometimes we go down to Henderson, depending on where they're at, depending on the different gangs that are active at that particular time. Then we have our investigations teams. They primarily investigate shootings. So you have those drive-by shootings where we have these groups that get together and they have the retaliation shooting of each other. Their job is to investigate that, figure out who did it, figure out which gang is involved, and then we also will send our enforcement team out after that to make sure that we're putting our focused efforts on the gangs that are involved in those shootings. So we kind of have a two-sided effort to it. They're trying to solve it. At the same time, we're trying to make contact with these gang members that are involved in the shooting as frequently as possible. And then we also have a task force team. So they partner with the FBI, the DEA, and HSI. They do our long-term investigations with these criminal gangs. They try to do some enterprise with selling drugs, conducting prostitution-related stuff, and more of the organized thing. So these detectives work with these federal partners to do long-term investigations to shut down those organizations and shut down those organized crimes. So I kind of covered this. This is just the what I was talking about, which we all what we do. So we talk about a criminal gang. What is a gang? We're governed by NRS for that. So NRS defines a criminal gang as any combination of persons organized formally or informally, so constructed the organization will continue its operation even if an individual member enters or leaves the organization. They have a common name or identifying symbol. They have a particular conduct, status, and customs indicative. And one of their common activities engages in criminal activity punishable as a felony. So, as I was going through this, everybody's thinking right now, okay, so we're here with the Las Vegas Rotary Club. Those first 3 things I just talked about are a gang. Some of the jokes that we have is Metro is the biggest gang in the valley because those first 3 things also identify us. Where the difference is and what makes it illegal is that last section I was talking about. Activities punishable as a felony. So we have several groups of individuals that will get together, be a crew of 5 or 6 individuals that go out and commit crimes. When I was in robbery, we would typically have crews that were really good at doing bank robberies together, or they go out and do armor car robberies together, but they weren't necessarily a gang. Because the big thing for NRS, as we talk about, even if you take one member away from that robbery crew, they can't do it. Like you see the movies with the bank heists and stuff, you lose the guy who can pick the lock, and you can't commit the crime. When we talk about making them a gang, if we remove one individual from that gang will still keep committing those crimes and they will still be there, and it doesn't affect what they're doing to commit crime. So that's where the difference kind of comes in and how we will classify them as a gang. So how do we document gang membership? So we are governed by NRS and we're also governed by the federal statute 289. We document it through what we call field interviews. We go out, we talk to these individuals, we talk about their life, their involvement, get everything going on with it. And then we store it in our, we call it Motorola P1, it's our record system. So for the agency, for the DA, and for the state, this is the official record that makes them a documented gang member. There's no other thing, any other system that you ever hear anybody talking about. Those are just computer-aided guides in helping us research through this system. Now we have to have some kind of criteria. I can't just point somebody out and say,
I don't like the way that this person is acting or how they're dressed. And I say, all right, now you're a gang member, you're a member of this gang. So with that, we are governed by our policy of 6255, and it talks about what we have to have. We have to have 9 criteria that are listed, and we have to have 2 of those criteria present in front of us to document this member as or this individual as a gang member. So self-admittance, probably the easiest one. They come up to us and they tell us, hey, I'm a gang member, and I'm a member of this gang, and this is why. They have been arrested with other gang members, so they're out committing crime, and this person is documented gang member, and now they're out doing a robbery with this one. So that will get them also associated in. Reliable source information. So we talk with a lot of confidential sources. We have confidential sources within the gangs. They start telling us like, hey, these are the people that are involved. Clothing. Clothing is kind of a difficult one. So when we look at the culture of younger people that like to listen to hip hop music, they will typically dress as they see those people that wear that clothes. So it's more of a fashion than necessarily a statement. So when we talk about clothing, it's not necessarily that they're dressed in that style of clothing. It's a specific color. There's a specific symbol that they will wear. And when I talk about that, so like Gerson Park's Human is a really big gang in town. Their color is green. So when they're out on the streets, they will always have all green on, something green on, to let everybody know that, hey, this is what I'm a part of. So it doesn't necessarily matter the fashion they're wearing. More to us, it's the color. We have an older gang that has kind of gone away, but they were the Wood. So they would wear the Washington Nationals hat. It didn't really matter what color it was, but that W was a symbol for them of being a Wood gang member. And that was how they communicated with each other and hit it. But to the naked eye, hey, he could just be a Washington Nationals fan. It doesn't mean anything to you. And it doesn't really matter if he's wearing khakis or if he's wearing saggy pants and he's wearing Nike Jordans. But to us, it's that wood symbol, which would be the clothing. We talk about symbols and displays. Every group always has one. They have their hand signs, their specific things. We have a gang that's called 004 Hoodsman, and they'll have a 004 tattooed somewhere on them. They'll also have a symbol that shows that 004 when they're taking photos and stuff like that. So those are the types of symbols that we look at in their tattoos. Sometimes they'll get clothing made that'll have it on there as well. And then we also have an affiliate they live in the neighborhood with, they hang out with. Doesn't necessarily make them a member of the gang, but they affiliate with these people. And then we also have self-admittance through Clark County Detention Center. So those are the criteria that our policy outlines that we have to look into. And while I'm talking to this individual, I have to have at least 2 of those right then and right there to document this person as a member of that gang. All right, so this is as of December 2022, this is last year's stats. We have a total of 524 documented gangs. Now, when I say that documented, that doesn't mean that they all live here. That means that we have come across 524 gangs of people that live here. Some of them could be from California, some could be from Washington, New York, DC, some of the bigger metropolitan areas where they also have large gangs. Total members, 9,911 of people that we have spoken to in the calendar year of 2022. And then total associates, where we say, hey, you're a friend of that gang, but you're not necessarily a part of it, is 1,800. So this documentation, as you can show, shows an 11% reduction. I would love to stand here in front of you guys right now and say that that 11% reduction is because there's less gang members here and there's less gangs, and there's less gang problems. It's not. I showed you guys all of the structure that we have for us to get documented. Sometimes that doesn't always get done and get into the system to keep the numbers up where they are. So that reduction that shows on that screen that we push out doesn't necessarily mean there's less gangs here. There's just less documentation on them. They're getting more sly about not showing us that they're a gang member or telling us they're a gang member. They watch TV, they read, they see what happens when people get arrested, they read their arrest reports. They're very smart. They go on, they learn the laws, and then they learn, hey, you know what, if we don't want Metro messing with us because we're a gang, then let's not tell them we're a gang. This is how we hide it. This is how we keep them from getting us documented. So they're still out there, probably at the same level, if not more. It's just getting more difficult to keep that documentation going with their knowledge base and trying to prevent us from identifying it. So I threw some photos up here of the typical types of guns that we come across. So in 2022, gang enforcement, the two teams that I'm with, took 313 guns off of the streets. And then when you add that extra number in there to take the 457, that's where our investigators, through their investigations, have also taken those additional guns off the streets. And you can see the types of weapons that are up there. I don't know if you can see this picture down here, the circle right here, that's a big drum mag on a tiny gun. They have the extended clips, and then they have these, they're semi-auto, but they're still assault rifle type weapons. So we talked about specialized training that we would have for gangs. There's nothing specialized about what we teach. It's open to everybody on the agency, and it's open to any law enforcement that wants to come to us. We teach outside agencies, and we also teach Northtown and Huntsville. And we call it the gang liaison officer. Essentially, they sit down with us for 8 hours, and we go through, as I brought up just a couple of gangs that we have, a couple of gangs we have problems with, we go through every one. They'll break down every gang of our black gangs. They'll break down every Hispanic gang. They'll break down all of the white gangs, and they'll break down the hierarchy within them, where they like to be, the types of crime they like to commit, and they'll get into the real nitty gritty of what's going on with them. And then we also have just an overview of gangs in Clark County, which is about 4 hours. It just kind of lays it all out where everything's at. So, juvenile diversion program. We want to keep our kids out of that. That's primarily our function and why we're going to the schools. So we work with CCSD and CCSD police. What they have created is a program of home visits. They got federal grant money to do it, where we will have somebody identified by either school police or an administrator or a teacher in the school of a troubled youth. Somebody that seems to be having problems at school, or somebody that's kind of going down the path of no return, and we want to stop them from it. So what they do is they get a counselor from licensed social workers. There's 2 of them with the school department, police department, and they go out with the detective and they meet with the family. And their whole goal is to offer social services, resources, whatever they can get to this family to prevent this juvenile from going down the path of joining a gang. It's very popular amongst some of these youth. They see the rap videos, they see the money that's shown in there, they see the videos that these gangs will put out to show that they have all this money and all this flashiness. And if you have a family that doesn't have a lot, they're struggling, where they don't necessarily eat every day, and then they see all of this money and all of this glamour, and then they get recruited in by these adults that are using it against them, saying, look at all this money I have, look at all this cool stuff I can do. So that's what we're trying to combat with this. We come to the family and say, we want to help you so you don't go down that path. Your child doesn't go down that path. We show them that this is not the way to go, to stay on the path of getting through school, getting your education, and then going on to being a successful member of our community. And when I talk to the school police, they have the social justice program or school justice program. It's for nonviolent offenses. And what they'll do is they'll issue a citation and refer them to Harvard. Maybe it's a problem at home that they need to get them out of, and then they'll put them in a place that can help the child out. And the whole goal of that program through the schools is to keep these kids from going into jail. Because once they get down that path, they start to meet those people, they start to hang out with those people more, they start to think, oh, it's already over, it already started, I'm just gonna keep going this way. So these are the 2 big programs that we have. The top one has federal funding. We work with our unit, we work with our task force, we work with the police, and we also work with their social workers. They only have 2, they're trying to get themselves to 9, so they can do more of these home visits. They'll do about 4 or 5 visits a week. And that's the end of my presentation. Yeah, that was probably way shorter than everybody was anticipating, so I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot of questions. And all right.
Hi, are some of these gangs like hereditary from your family?
Yes, that's a very good question. So when I was asked to come here, I was asked, like, is it the gangs of old time, where we're talking about Bloods and Crips? So we have more of a hybrid gang system here. Where you look at LA, they have the blood gang and the crip gang, and they're by red and they're by blue, and then they have their own neighborhoods, and then they have that neighborhood, and that's theirs. And just everybody knows that. Here, we're more of a, these kids came here years ago, and their family members were part of those gangs in LA. So they came out here and they started that gang. Then they called themselves whatever they wanted. The oldest one right now is GPK, Gerson Park, and they are a blood group. So we do have the subsets of blood groups, but then all those kids get together and start that gang. Well, then they start to grow up, they get older, and they have kids. So their kids will then be basically born into that gang. They don't have to be jumped in, they don't have to initiate, have to do anything. They go, well, my dad or my uncle was part of that gang. I am now part of that. Where the issue we do have with our gangs now, with these young kids, is they go, you know what? My dad was that gang. I don't want to do that. We're going to be janky. Janky is a part of GPK, but it's probably a lot of the kids from the GPK gang. So they've created their own. Now they're going to say, we're going to do things our own way. We're not going to do the things that dad and uncle did. We're going to run things the way we want. We're going to commit the crimes that we want. So there is a lot of hereditary in it. It's not just recruitment, but then we also have the issue with adults going in and recruiting kids when they're young adults.
Thank you, Sergeant Rivera. Started off by saying we're all aware of the gang. Actually, I wasn't. I guess I'm not shocked. But my question is the following. Once you've documented somebody as a member of the gang, can you then arrest the entire group or have to wait for that individual to commit the crime? And the answer is you don't have the authority to arrest the entire group. Does that authority exist anywhere else in the United States where once you're part of a criminal enterprise, then arrest the entire group, you don't have to wait for the individual?
Thank you. That's a very good question. So as I talked about with our breakdown and how we have enforcement, investigations, and task force. So that is a task force level thing where they partner with our federal partners, and then we get grant money to help us. So right now, our biggest problem with the gang is called whiting. We have identified them as a very violent group of individuals. And we have tasked one of our detectives that we want you to start investigating that. So his focus is to try and find the hierarchy of that gang, find out the criminal enterprise that they're conducting, and find a way to take that down. But what they do is they take it down piece by piece as they identify, but their whole focus is for a federal investigation to take down the entire hierarchy of the gang, to make the gang basically fall to the point where they cannot operate anymore because we've taken away all of their options to make money. We've taken away all the people that are in control of it. They can't function anymore to create problems. So yes, we do that, and that's long-term investigation. It does take time to get those people. So that's where the enforcement side of the house comes in. When we identify this gang, right now we're having a lot of problems with them. Then they take enforcement and say, hey, we want contact with them. We want you to find the guns. We want you to find the drugs. We want you to put them in jail. And then that way they can also help with the investigations. People start talking, start giving us the information that we need to help with the investigation. I hope that answers the question. Part of the camp. Very good answer. More than and then all of a sudden, and then poor and still go back. So I understand what you're saying. So that's why we started this grant program with the school police to go out and do the home visits and talk to the families and to try and give the families what they need so they don't feel they need to go back to that criminal activity. What I do understand is sometimes you have this kid that you can try your best to show them this is the right path, but some kids don't want to listen. As the process goes and as the arrests occur, if they do get arrested, sometimes that shows them that, hey, this isn't the life I want to be. They could also be involved in a shooting and watch their friend die. And then that will show them, you know what, this isn't the life I want to be involved in. Everybody kind of learns at a different pace. It's kind of how I look at it. And we try to give them as many resources as we can. When my team goes out, our sheriff's big push right now for us, the sheriff's initiative, is injecting humanity. So our goal also with enforcement, if we go talk to these people, we talk to them and what can help them get out of it, what can we do for you? What do you need? So this doesn't happen anymore to get you out of this life. Because sometimes they just feel like this is going to happen. My dad did it, my brother does it. I can't go anywhere else but do this. But we try to show them that there's another way. That we're not just robot cops. We're not out there just to arrest them. My enforcement team's not just here to find anything they can to take people to jail. We're also here to try and help them get out of the life.
Thank you so much for being here. The question I have is the program you talked about, over what period of time is it to follow with families? I think you said 9 times. And then is part of that any of the folks that's
So as part of this home visit program that I'm talking about, it's a federal partnership that we have to get in, and they work with school police and they work with their social workers. A lot of the social workers, they have history from other places within, where they also have been problems. They didn't come from a family, but it's not necessarily us finding advocates that got out of that system. And then once we are introduced through that initial home visit, then just the social worker works with the family to continue whatever aid, whatever contact they need. And they handle the follow-up as it goes on, as long as that family.
We need to make an arrest. Paul could argue about property. And more about the game. More
Thank you, sir. That comes with our rapport building. I have a very small group of individuals. We have 20 officers. Their sole focus and their sole drive is to come to this unit to go out and talk to these people and figure out how to get into the intricacies of what's going on, who's involved. So it really comes down to our ability to build rapport with people who don't like law enforcement and they don't want to deal with us. We also at jail have some investigators that they will sit down with these documented gang members and try and find out as much as you can. So I've come across some that are very proud, and they will sit and they will talk your ear off. They'll tell you everything about what they've done, everything they're about, everything they're famous about, and they'll just be a proud member of it. And that's a very easy conversation to have to get all that information. Sometimes we come across people that don't want to talk to us at all. So we also have an intelligence unit, but that's also a focus of theirs, is to go and talk to these individuals once they've been arrested, to try and get as much information as we can so we can put together the structures, understand what they're involved in, who's involved, areas of town that they live in, areas of town that they communicate with. I don't have a stat to give you, but I can tell you that we're pretty good at it. I offered to stop last night, just off of a vehicle stop, and the person that they were talking to was very open to him and just explaining to him what's going on. So sometimes we come across the information that people are willing to talk to us. Sometimes you have to have these trained investigators who are doing this for 10, 15 years, where that's been their sole function, is to just talk to these gang members, understand how they talk, understand their culture, respect their culture. You can't come in with that standard, I'm a police officer, I'm here to conduct business. You have to get down and have a conversation with them. You have to understand their lingo, understand the way to talk, kind of they have to have a little bit of respect for you. When I first got here, they could tell I was rude. I didn't know how to talk to them. I didn't talk their language. I watch my officers and I see how they talked about it, and then they can have those conversations. I had an officer that was on my team for 3 years, and now he's an investigator. He went to school with some of these guys. So we would show up on the streets and talk to them. He would know them from high school. So he instantly has a rapport that he can have with them from knowing them in high school, and he can break down those barriers to have those conversations to gather the intelligence. So we kind of come at it from every different angle. Everybody has a different life story. Cops are all different. Some gangs members will not want to talk to me just simply because of my skin color. That's fine. We also have different demographics of people that they will feel more comfortable with speaking to, and we'll utilize that to our advantage. Absolutely, sir. So within the DA's office, they have standard track DAs that handle all crimes that come through. They also have specialized units. We have a homicide unit, we have a gun crime unit. We have our own track of DAs. Their sole function is our larger gang crimes. Unfortunately, because they're understaffed like everybody else, they can't take all of them. So we talk about the street level arrests that my team make. They don't necessarily go through that specialized DA, but all of our shooting cases do. And he handles it with his team to make sure that they're solely focused on it. We have weekly meetings with them. The detectives are on a first name basis with them. They have conversations at 1 in the morning. He goes over all of their search warrants to make sure that everything they're doing will assist him in prosecution. And as time goes on through that prosecution, they also have that back and forth consistently to make sure that it's successful and we have all the evidence they need. So we have our own set of DAs within the state side. And then on our federal side, they have the AUSA that they also work with on all of the federal cases. And they basically sit down and build their investigation together versus the cops did all of this work. Here you go, DA, good luck. Or they'll sit down with the AUSA and they're like, this is what we want to do, this is what we're thinking, and then they'll say, this is where we're at right now with what I want to do for prosecution and the things that I need you to do to make it successful.
Thank you for coming and speaking with us. In regards to the youth, you're saying you guys do home visits like that. Beyond that, what type of consistent outreach is being done in these communities? Because as somebody that has grown up like this, I can tell you right now that if you come to my door, you ask me if I need help with a job or some services, I'm going to think that you're just going to step up. You know what I mean? You're not going to see any real, outreach from the system that I believe in that culture is meant to hold me down. All I see is you guys coming in the neighborhood and taking down all of that jazz. I don't see you guys showing up consistently, maybe holding an event, an outreach table, anything like that. Is there any plans to, besides just showing up and knocking on the door, holding consistent events that might stop the community?
So thank you for that. So when you're talking about consistent events, every area command in the valley has a community-oriented police unit, and their sole function is those types of events and reaching out to families of violent crimes as they occur. So if a shooting occurs within the Bolden Area Command, their team the next day will go out and contact those victims, contact that family. A lot of that also comes down with their community stakeholders, working with the churches in the area, working with the youth pastors in the area. Our Bolden also has a little league that they put together that they fully fund, so these kids can come and they can get involved in sports. Because as we all know, if we give a kid something else to do other than going out hanging out with their friends, and we give them an activity and a team activity, it will help show them to get away from it. I would say our Bolden COP is probably the most robust and has probably the most connections through the agents, through our stakeholders in the community to help out with that, just based off of their geographical location. Our agency also does have a organized community engagement, Office of Community Engagement. So that's more of a department-wide, where they will work with federal partners, task force, grants, whatever they can do to try and help to go out to these places. So I understand what you're saying, and you don't feel like we're always there. We just see the cops in the neighborhood taking people to jail. So we're trying to show that we have this other side, and we're trying to show it more often, but we're trying to work together through every event. Just within the last year that I've been in the gang unit, I've noticed that every time we have an update email that's sent to us about a shooting that occurred, that very next morning, our COP in that area command is reaching out to us, and they want to go out. They want to do something. They want to talk to the community. They want to talk to the victims. They want to make sure they're giving them everything they can, and they're handling that case by case as often as they can to show that we're out here really to try and help you guys, help stop this violence from happening in your neighborhood, and everything we can do for the victims to give them assistance.
Thank you. Two questions. One, ground 2.3 million people in Las Vegas Valley, 10,000 members. First question, how prevalent daily? I don't know which ones are gang related and which ones aren't. And so one is, how prevalent is the activity that they're involved in? A lot more than I think. But how much more? And then the second question is, as we alluded to, there's lots of other cities that you see cheap things. People get together, rush to the retail stores, do those kinds of things. And do those here in Las Vegas different than other more big cities? Are we different in how gangs operate different? So how prevalent and then are we different?
Absolutely. So I don't have the exact stats of prevalence, but I will tell you that we investigate, I would say, at least 3 or 4 shootings in a week through our 2 squads. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. Sometimes the squad can go a week without having a case. Sometimes they'll have 4 cases in a day. Out of the stats, I think, is our investigative unit handles 500 and some odd cases a year, which averages about 10 cases a month per squad. And that's not just shootings. That could also be a robbery. That could also be a robbery where a car was stolen or somebody pointed a gun at somebody, not just a shooting. They handle all of those. And then we also have, unfortunately, gang-related homicides that we don't investigate. A homicide section handles those. We just work in partnership with that. Your second question, you talk about, you don't see the mobs of things happening in Vegas like you see elsewhere. And I believe that that's a community respect for everybody. We do a really good job of showing respect when we deal with people. And I have people tell me all the time, thank you. You're not like the cops I dealt with from wherever I came from. You guys aren't like the cops from this town. They would have just done this to us. You guys are actually really cool. And I believe that that actually is a benefit for us in how Metro handles stuff. I've seen how other agencies are. Nothing against them. They're working their butts off. But it seems to be an overwhelming thing in Las Vegas that even most of the criminals still have a respect for the police here. Our community does a really good job of also putting out there that we don't stand for this. We have tough laws. We have a DA that's strong on stuff. We have a governor that's also strong on laws and showing that we are not soft on crime here. So there's no reason to do the things that you're seeing in other places where it's being reported on national news that, hey, we don't prosecute this anymore. Well, criminals are like, okay, we're going to go do that. We're not showing that here. Here we're showing that we're sticking together. We don't stand for it. And I think that's probably what's working. I'm being told to leave, so thank you for your time.
I just talked with the lieutenant. She said you're willing to stay after our meeting for more questions. So she said I figure is good. In appreciation, Sergeant Rivera, for your time today, we would like to present you with a copy of our legacy book celebrating 100 years, the Rotary Club of Las Vegas, a centennial celebration, and also what we talked about earlier, the Salute to Service Award for your time, which is going to be a donation to the U.S. Military Family Support Services in your name. With that, in keeping with the theme of RI President Gordon McAnally, I feel and I can't stand up to create hope in the world. And as American anthropologist Margaret Mead has said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And with that, friends and family, adjourned, and thank you.